Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Morongwa Mongo. I am a neuropsychology student at UCT, and I am doing my first year in neuropsychology. And yeah, I post content that are neuropsychology related in South Africa because it's a field that is not covered enough, especially on YouTube. So I share neuropsychology related content, but I'm also a personal trainer and I am a bulimia survivor. So every now and then I will share fitness related content or eating disorder related content. So in today's video, I'm going to answer a question that was left in one of my previous videos. I often answer questions, like I will type responses back, but I think some of these questions require us to engage like this and talk and talk and talk. So that's why I chose to record a video. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this video, and I hope it's going to be valuable to those that are thinking of coming into this industry. And if you have any more questions about the field of neuropsychology, please feel free to ask, and I will try and answer as best as I possibly can, since I'm also new in the field, while the field is new, which is also another thing. New person in a new field. And yeah, let's get into it. So the question that Rukia Benjamin asked was that he or she was wondering if there's a way to volunteer or shadow a neuropsychologist to see if the field is truly for him or her, and also is it profitable to study neuropsychology, because he or she said that there's virtually no information about salaries as it pertains to neuropsychologists. I like the last part of their comment because it said coming from a passionate undergrad student studying neuropsychology, and I remember when that used to be me, so that got me quite excited. Thank you so much for your question and your comment, and I hope you've subscribed. If you haven't, please do so. But before I answer this question, let's first talk about neuropsychology and what it is, because I don't think I've covered that. And neuropsychology is a study of brain function and how brain function affects our behavior. And by brain, I mean like the hardwire itself, right? Think about it as a bridge between our brain and our actions, our feelings, and our thoughts. So neuropsychologists focus on studying the relationship and both when the brain is functioning well and when things aren't functioning as they should. So we as neuropsychologists, we are experts in studying how the brain works and how it affects our behavior. And at UCT we receive extensive training in like several key areas for the field of neuropsychology. Number one, we do anatomy and physiology of the brain. We learn about everything, the structure, the function. We learn about the brain like in its entirety, from the gyri to the Salky to cortical, subcortical structures, the functions, the sutures of the skull, the meninges, blood supply. I mean everything, the works, which is extremely important for us to know how the brain is wired, right? And then two, we learn about pathology. So we study the diseases and the conditions that impact the brain, from brain traumatic injuries to infections to neurodegenerative diseases. If it affects the hardwire, if it affects the brain tissue, if it affects the brain itself, we study it. And then three, we also look at psychodiagnostic and psychological assessments. We use specialized tools to assess and diagnose conditions affecting the brain. This skill overlaps with what clinical psychologists do, but with a specific focus on brain function. And yeah, one of the main tasks of a neuropsychologist is to evaluate a patient who has had an injury or an illness that affect their brain. For example, let's say traumatic brain injuries, which we call TBI. So I'll keep saying TBI whenever I speak about them. We assess how these injuries impact brain function and behavior. We also look at conditions like Alzheimer's disease. We diagnose and track the progress of neurodegenerative diseases. And after diagnosing, our job doesn't end at diagnosing, right? We also develop and implement cognitive rehabilitation programs. These programs are designed to help the patient either regain a skill that they lost or learn a new way to manage their life, their day-to-day functioning with the condition. We often work very closely with doctors like neurologists. We work with OTs. We provide a comprehensive care for the patient. So it's not just us. Like, we work in a multidisciplinary team. So basically, neuropsychologists are like detectives of the brain. We study how the brain tissue affects behavior, and then we diagnose the condition, we treat the condition, and then we help people improve their cognitive functioning. Our work is crucial in helping individuals regain and adapt after a brain-related injury or a brain-related disease. I hope that wasn't like just random big words that didn't make sense. So I think to sum it up again, I'll say you have a healthy brain, and let's say the person get hit by a stroke. So now you get hit by a stroke, you come into the hospital, and the neurologist has a look at you. You are in the neuro ward, and they look at your brain and they say, yeah, you had a stroke in this area, blah blah blah, all of that jargon, right? Now we need to know how this stroke is going to affect your life going forward, how it's going to affect your mood, how it's going to affect your cognition. Cognition is a great, it's a big part of neuropsychology. How it's going to affect your cognition, how it's going to affect all the other areas of your life. Or let's say you have brain surgery. So you come into the hospital, you have brain surgery, and now let's say you have a brain tumor, and the neurosurgeon says, this person we've scanned them, this person has a brain tumor in this area, and we want to cut it out, but we need to know how it's going to affect their life going forward, how it's going to affect their speech, well, depending on where the tumor is, how it's going to affect their speech, how it's going to affect their mood, how it's just going to affect them going forward, how removing them is going to affect them, how it being there now has been affecting their life, how it's been affecting their cognition, and so that's where the neuropsychologist, yes, that's where we come in as neuropsychologists. So we're basically a bridge between neurology and psychology, because psychology is the study of behavior. What does the internet say about, what's the internet definition of psychology? Because it's the study of what? Yeah, scientific study of human mind and its function, especially those affecting behavior in a given context. Yes, so it's the study of human behavior, the human mind and the human behavior. We are looking at the human mind and human behavior from a point of, you just had some type of neurological condition, or some type of neurological disease, neurological illness. So and then back to the question. Let's answer Benjamin's question. Drinking hot water. So I hope that wasn't like just random big words that didn't make sense. So I think to sum it up again, I'll say you have a healthy brain, and let's say the person get hit by a stroke. So now you get hit by a stroke, you come into the hospital, and the neurologist has a look at you. You are in the neuro ward, and they look at your brain and they say, yeah, you had a stroke in this area, blah blah blah, all of that jargon, right? Now we need to know how this stroke is going to affect your life going forward, how it's going to affect your mood, how it's going to affect your cognition. Cognition is a great, it's a big part of neuropsychology. How it's going to affect your cognition, how it's going to affect all the other areas of your life. Or let's say you have brain surgery. So you come into the hospital, have brain surgery, and now let's say you have a brain tumor, and the neurosurgeon, says this person we've scanned them, this person has a brain tumor in this area, and we want to cut it out, but we need to know how it's going to affect their life going forward, how it's going to affect their speech, well, depending on where the tumor is, how it's going to affect their speech, how it's going to affect their mood, how it's just going to affect them going forward, how removing them is going to affect them, how it being there now has been affecting their life, how it's been affecting their cognition, and so that's where the neuropsychologist, yes, that's where we come in as neuropsychologists. So we're basically a bridge between neurology and psychology, because I mean, psychology is the study of behavior. What does the internet say about, what's the internet definition of psychology? Because it's the study of what? Yeah, scientific study of human mind and its function, especially those affecting behavior in a given context. Yes, so it's the study of human behavior, the human mind and the human behavior. We are looking at the human mind and human behavior from a point of, you just had some type of neurological condition, or some type of neurological disease, neurological illness. So and then back to the question. Let's answer Benjamin's question. So back to the main question. The first thing you wanted to know was, how do you gain practical experience? Like, would job shadowing and volunteering be right, or is it something that you can actually get into? And I will say yes, it will be incredible, it will be valuable to you. I did this last year, and I kid you not, like, you will not regret it. But how do you get into these spaces? How do you get into touch with different neuropsychologists? And that's what I want us to talk about. So firstly, reach out to hospitals, reach out to rehabilitation centers, reach out to clinics that have neuropsychologist on board, or a department or whatever. For example, places like the Netcare rehabilitation hospitals, life healthcare facilities, they often employ neuropsychologists. Let them know that you are you're a psychology student that is eager to learn more, and see if they offer shadowing or volunteering opportunities. I last year decided that I also wanted to shadow, and I got an opportunity to shadow, and I kid you not, I did not regret it. I emailed probably like 10 to 15 neuropsychologists and only received 3 responses. So don't give up, just keep emailing them. The one that responded was too far, so I couldn't go volunteer there. I think it was going to be like a 2-hour drive. The second one said they no longer practice in South Africa. And then the third one was a neuropsychologist that has his own practice in the Netcare Rehabilitation Hospital that is in Auckland Park, Johannesburg. And he responded to my email. And for the sake of transparency, I'll read the email communication between me and him. Remember, at the time I was doing my honors, so I was based in Cape Town, but for the school holidays, I was going to be in Joburg, right? So my email said, I am interested in, said good day, of course, greet. I'm interested in pursuing a master's degree in neuropsychology, as it aligns with my passion for understanding the human brain and behavior. Currently, I'm completing my honors program in psychology at UCT, where I have been exposed to the fundamental principles of psychology and neuroscience. During the month of June and July, I will be situated in Johannesburg, and I'm eager to gain practical experience in the field of neuropsychology. With this in mind, I'm writing to inquire if your organization has any available opportunities that could provide me with exposure in this field. Reading your own email is so weird, because now it's like, why do you sound like that? Why do you write like that? Anyway, and then I say, I am highly motivated, enthusiastic, and eager to learn. Of course, everybody is. As such, I am prepared to assist in any capacity possible to gain a comprehensive understanding of neuropsychology. I think that is important to mention that. Tell them what noma yini pos I am, even if I'm just there breathing your guys' A. It's okay. At least I can say I was there. Hopefully you get to shadow someone that exposes you to a lot more than you being in the building. And then I say whether it's conducting research, assisting with patient evaluations, or participating in any other related activity, I'm willing to contribute to your organization in any way that will expand my knowledge and skills in the field. Thank you for considering my request. I look forward to hearing from you and hope to have an opportunity to work alongside your team to further my education and aspirations. And then he responded and said, and this response took a long time actually, because I emailed in April and he responded exactly a month later in May, but he hadn't seen my email because it went to his junk mail. That's also another thing that you need to think about. You might need to follow up actually. He responded saying, "Hi Murunga, sorry I have not replied earlier. Somehow your message ended up in my junk mail folder, which I happened to check a few minutes ago. There are legal limits to what you can do at I'm not exposing his name, nor his practice name, so that's why I'm saying because I didn't ask him if I could share this, so that's why I'm for confidentiality I'm blocking that out. And then he said basically you can watch and do nothing else. However, if you're interested in sitting in on an examination with a patient, we could probably organize that for you. And yeah, and then the expected rules would apply in terms of patient confidentiality, the patient agreeing to the presence, to your presence. So yeah, so that was my email, which I had labeled neuropsychology volunteer. So you can look into that. You can definitely look into that, but like don't just sit in your corner and not do anything. Email as many neuropsychologists as you can find. Like just keep bothering them. At this point in our career, you have nothing to lose, honestly. Even if everybody says no, we don't want you here, so what? Nah, means nothing. So yeah, I went there and I gained some valuable experience. I got to watch him evaluate one of the patients. So yeah, you can find many neuropsychologists on the South African Clinical Neuropsychological Association website or on LinkedIn. But yeah, one of those two you'll find neuropsychologists. But go volunteer, go shadow, just get in there. Number two, that second thing that you can do, since UCT is the only university in South Africa that offers a specialized training for neuropsychology, the professors, if you're not a UCT student, the professors and the career service at your university can be a great resource for you if you're not at UCT, because they might have connections or know of like opportunities for you to gain the experience that you need. So make sure that you're talking to the people in career services, people, the professors, the lecturers, people in the neuroscience, neuroscience space, but like talk to those people. They might tell you of opportunities that you're currently not aware of, that will help you grow in the space of neuropsychology. And then number 3, to answer your question, engaging with professional organizations like the South African Society of Clinical Psychologists, because they also post stuff there that you can get into. And then the South African Clinical Neuropsychological Association, I've already mentioned that one, will be beneficial for you. These organizations often host events, and these are perfect spaces for you maybe to find a mentor or to find someone that you can ask to shadow. Most of these events are paid, but every once in a while they'll have one that is free. And then lastly, consider getting involved in research projects that are neuropsych related. So like get the research experience. Getting that research experience will give you deeper understanding of neuropsychology and might open doors for you for more practical experience. So yeah, get involved in neuropsych related research projects. Another thing you can do to see if this field is for you is to check out one. There's a website, ENIGMA-U. I'll put the link on my website, on my bio. It's by the University of Utah, the Department of Psychology. So this site here, it's a free course where they focus on neuroscience, neuroimaging, neuropsychology, and basic science literacy. And it's geared up to, it's for high school students and entry level college students and university students who are interested in neuroscience and who also want to prepare for additional mentoring and whatnot. But like, it will give you exposure to the type of material we do here at UCT. This course is free. Of course, the material that they give you there is not like, it's not that extensive as much as our master's project and program, but it will give you an example of the type of things that you're going to learn when you do this master's program. So you can see if, because I know that also, like, the first thing they touch on that program is neuroanatomy, and that's the first thing we did neuroanatomy. And then there's a website called NeuropsychologySA. I'll put all these links in my bio. They have a student level membership, which is 35 Rand a month for undergrad students, honors students, and master's students. I found the ENIGMA thing on their website actually. Like, there's so many associations that you can learn, and yeah, and there's so many videos that you can watch on Google, on YouTube. This one, for instance, that will expose you to the type of work that neuropsychologists do. Now let's get into the finances and the career for neuropsychologists in South Africa. It's a crucial aspect to consider as part of your path, because I mean, we'll have bills to pay. The first thing that I think is extremely important to mention, and I think you probably know this, but I still need to mention it, is that you need a master's degree. Yeah, I hate that we don't speak a lot about how long it takes to become a psychologist, any type of psychologist, in this country. So if you're in first year or in high school, and no one has told you this, and you want to be a psychologist, let me be the first to tell you, you need a master's degree. Whether you're doing neuropsychology, clinical psychology, counseling psychology, you are going to need a master's degree. If you are in matric and you're thinking, I'm going to be working in 3-4 years, I'm going to be balling, I'm sorry that I am the bearer of bad news, but masters, babes, you need your masters. And it's an investment. It's an investment into yourself and your career and but anyway, let's move on. Career opportunities and salaries in the field of psychology. Firstly, we need to mention that neuropsychology is still new in this country, right? But also neuropsychologists work in various spaces. So we work in hospitals, in private practice, in rehabilitation centers. Although specific salary details can be difficult to find, neuropsychologists generally earn they get quite a competitive salary, Shem. It's just that your internship year is not paid, unlike other types of psychology, like clinical psychology. But when it comes to the work itself, we're compensated quite well. So when you're looking at job listings on the likes of LinkedIn, be sure to read the requirements carefully. So for example, a listing could say clinical psychologist, but the role itself and the duties might actually require neuroclinical skills. So don't just write it off. Check posts on LinkedIn and you'll see that there's quite a few jobs there. For instance, this job that was posted on LinkedIn by Life, I think it's a rehabilitation center. I'll put the post here. I know that the post itself said they wanted a clinical psychologist, but the job spec itself, when I read it, I remember it saying that you're going to conduct assessments and plan programs, and I think work with individuals and a group of patients with neurological conditions. And then they listed a lot of neurological conditions. TBI was probably involved somewhere there, because it's always involved. I should have actually just tried to find it, because I know they also said neuropsychological baseline screening. There was something about neuropsychological baseline screening there. But like such jobs, that job is for, as much as it says clinical psychologist, it's for a neuropsychologist. And let me find it quickly. And they said experience that will be advantageous is neuropsychological experience. So pay attention to these things. And remember that neuropsychology is a growing field. So because of that, it becomes difficult, I think, for people to just post jobs out there and say neuropsychologist, because most of the time clinical psychologists have been doing the job of a neuropsychologist. But I kid you not, you will be well compensated. It's going to come with a lot of teaching though, because many specialists don't know about neuropsychology yet. So you are going to come in there and actually have to teach people about what you do and who you are, and the knowledge that you have, and how you were trained at UCT, and how you are different from an OT, from a psychometrist, from a clinical psychologist, you know. But once you're in there and you start working, like the presence of a neuropsychologist makes a large difference in people's lives. So I hope this information was helpful to you. I hope I gave you some sort of direction and clarity in terms of what you can do. But if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask. I'm more than willing to answer. And thank you so much for watching. All the best with your studies. And yeah, all the best with the future. With your future in the field of neuropsychology, and God bless you and God be with you. Don't forget to subscribe and like and comment again. Thank you so much.